Brandon is with us in Phoenix, Arizona. Hi, Brandon. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve, sir. How can we help?
Well, I'm 35 years old. I have about 180,000 saved up. I have about 60,000 in credit card debt, and I owe about 90,000 on my mortgage with 10 years left on the loan. So at the end of the year here, I'm trying to decide if I should pay off my credit card debt and the mortgage and then start venturing into some investment properties, or pay off the credit card debt and use the remaining 120,000 to start investing in some properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good question. Way to go! You've done real well.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start off on this one, Dave. Though I'm not liking the credit card debt, so that's the very first thing I'm attacking right now. I'm paying that off when I hang up the phone with this.
Yeah,
and then from there, I'm going to go ahead and set aside some more money, make sure I have enough, at least 3 to 6 months of my savings. Then, I will be looking into the mortgage before I look into rental properties.
So, Brandon, when I was 28 years old, I lost everything because I was buying investment real estate on nothing down and 90-day notes, and the bank called our notes, and I had about $3 million worth of debt and about $4 million worth of real estate. So I had $1 million worth of equity that I lost due to being stupid. That process put me, that pain put me on a journey to learn how wealthy people become wealthy and keep wealth. Not what someone's opinion is or theory is, and not someone that wrote a book once, but people that really have done it. What did they do? People with old hair, or old people with gray hair and money. I've been young and rich. I didn't want his opinion. He was stupid. Okay? So I started talking to old rich people, and I found this thing called common sense. And then for 30 years, we've talked to people as a result, and Sharon, my wife, and I made the decision that the closest way to financial peace and wealth is no debt. Because no debt works beautifully when times are good, because you're making money hand over fist on everything that's an investment, because you don't have any payments on the rentals. And no debt works great if something like a pandemic happens or a 2008 happens and everything turns down. And so, consequently, right now, we're sitting on a pile of cash and a pile of paid-for real estate. The pandemic hits, we feel like the third pig, the one that built the brick house, and the wolf huffed and he puffed, and it did no good. I mean, the pandemic's out there blowing smoke all around us, and we're just watching some of our friends and our people we love suffer, but financially we've not suffered because we were ready for a storm. And when times are good, we make more money because we don't have payments. And so then that was confirmed in the data points of coaching wealthy people for the next 30 years, and in the study we did for Chris Hogan's book, where we studied 10,000 millionaires. The vast majority of those 10,000 millionaires became wealthy by being allergic to debt. And and then they just were very careful and very intentional about investing. So, if all of that to say, if I woke up in your shoes, I think you've done a wonderful job, accumulating some money. I'm with Anthony. I would pay off your credit cards today. I would also look in the mirror and ask how in the crap I got $50,000 in credit card debt, and make sure that doesn't happen again, because that's got stupid written all over it. And I'd chop up those stupid cards and be done with them forever. Then, as soon as I did that, I'd write a check and pay off your house. If I did my math right, you said you had 90 and 50. Did I remember that right?
60 and about 90.
Okay, it was 150 out of your 180.
Yeah,
so you have $30,000 left after you pay off both things. That's your emergency fund. Yeah. And what's your income?
120 a year.
Awesome. Now you have not a bill in the world. And so you ought to be able to save enough to pay cash for your first rental in 18 months.
Yeah.
And then save and pay cash. And by the way, every time you buy a rental with cash, they make money. The first one's hard, the second one's easier, the third one's even easier, the sixth one will buy the seventh one.
Yeah.
It starts snowballing, and that's what I've done. That's how I ended up with several $100 million worth of real estate. We pay cash for everything. I'm sitting at a 200,000 square foot, $70 million building that we paid cash for. And I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you the stuff I'm teaching you, dude, it works. Because I haven't done anything that was any trickery that I don't teach you guys to do. Now, I made more money than a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I didn't do all this off of income. I did it off of living these principles.
Yes.
So that's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. The shortest distance between you and the 45-year-old with $10 or $20 million worth of paid-for real estate is the path I just gave you. What do you think?
Man, I love it, Dave. I love it. I love how you're teaching. I get straight to the answer. You just take us through a whole story, Dave.
Well, we forget to do that sometimes because we just go, oh, the answer is this.
Yeah.
Because we know the answer.
Yes.
And, the reason you know the answer of, how not to misbehave talking to a young man on another call is you did misbehave.
Yes.
The way I learned about not going broke is I went broke.
Yeah.
So, my pastor used to say a man with an experience is not at the mercy of a man with an opinion. And so, you can't talk to Anthony O'Neill about how positive the student loans are because they screwed up your life.
They screwed up my life tremendously. Not just that, but even credit cards. I'm thinking the same thing. Like, well, how did you even get the 50,000? How did you get the 5,000? But then when I sit there and ask that question, I'm like, well, I did it.
Yeah.
So I know how he did it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
man,
But you need to address that because it'll grow back.
Yes, sir.
If you don't pull that dandelion out by the roots, it'll grow back and it'll bring 3 friends.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny, Dave? When I'm out there on the road, some of my close friends be like, all right, let's be real. Did Dave really, build that big old building cash? There's just no way. And I'm like, yeah. I said, believe it or not, Dave practiced those principles probably 10 times more than the average person.
How do you do that? Well, first you get the money.
Right.
It's the old Steve Martin line. Steve Martin, a comedian, he had this whole routine. How to become a millionaire. And the first thing was, first you get $1 million. It's like, yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, you got to scrape the money together. And the truth is that when we bought the $10 million land under it, it took our breath away.
Yes.
And the stomach was in the throat. When we built the building, the first $25 million out of pocket was unbelievable. The first time I bought a $5 million building, my mind was blown. The first time I bought a $150,000 rental house, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
The first time you do it, you're just like, oh my God, that just happened.
Yeah.
But then every time you do it, it's got that much more income associated with it to do the next one.
Yes.
So we started building the second one next door. It's a lot easier.
A lot easier.
Been there, done that.
Yes.
And we've got the extra income now to do it with. And now we're building a conference center up on top of the hill. Easier yet.
Can't wait for that one.
It's going to be even easier. But it's the same thing. The first time you do something and you strain and you barely get there. We bought that other building, the Financial Peace Plaza we were in.
Yep.
And I paid $5 million for it. I had an option on it for 5 years. I was renting it. Saved and scraped, got the nickels out of the couch. By the time I closed on it at $5 million, it was worth 12.
Good gracious.
So, but I paid cash for it. It was an option, and I didn't finance it, and I didn't borrow money. And believe me, I was tempted because it's worth 12.
Yeah.
If I don't exercise that option, I'm walking away from a $7 million equity.
Yes.
So you don't have to put a lot of zeros on it for it to make sense. My point is we really do this stuff, and it really does. It went from $5 million up to this $70 million building.
And what I love about your story, Dave, that has taught me a lot is the key thing for you was discipline and patience.
It's taken a while. I'm old.
But I just watched you. You bought the land. You sat on this land for years.
Yeah, we did.
Before you started building.
We did. We didn't have the money.
And I'm like, wow. And to see where we are today because you were patient and you stuck to what you teach, that's why we, during COVID, were able to still operate when other businesses closed because we didn't have any debt.
Yeah, the weird thing is that you look back and you go, man, that was 20 years ago.
Yep.
And I go, that went really fast.
Yep.
Because it does go really fast.
Yes, sir.
So whether you do it right or whether you do it wrong, it still goes really fast.
Yes, sir.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show.